Who is ready to see a new Ram for 2025? I know I am. And despite this truck going so long without really being redesigned, it's still really good. I'm here at Larry H. Miller, Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram in Sandy, Utah. John Durley sold this truck, so if you would like to purchase it, be sure to reach out to him to make sure it is still available, or get on the list to get one soon. Let's go ahead and check out the window sticker and I'll show you guys around this pickup truck. So here is the base price for this Ram is $70,460. Standard equipment is right there. Be sure to pause it. And this truck has a lot of options on it. So fifth wheel, night edition, and Laramie are right there. Almost $10,000 just right there. And then on this side you have the 410, 6.7 high output, and dual rear wheel. This is one option you always have to click on a long bed, dually, or just single rear wheel. A few other things listed. Destination is $1995 with a total price of $96,900. So even though Ram trucks are so expensive, no one really does what Ram does for the dualies. So night edition is not available on any other dually pickup truck from Ford, Chevy, or GMC. And with this night edition package, it gives you the most menacing truck. When you see these going down the road, they look insane. Like, I love the overall styling. And this is pretty timeless. This front end, they did add this Sport Performance hood for 2023, and it just made this night edition so much nicer. So you have that fixed hood scoop up front, blackout for the grille, headlights, and you get the painted bumpers when you get the night edition as well. Now the tow hooks or recovery hooks down below are finished in black too, and even down here, this valance, it goes really well with the front end design of this truck. And check out how they hide the parking sensors on the front of the truck. You can't really see them unless you're really looking for them. And these headlights, they do look like they have like sunshades on from a distance. Now there are some incandescent bulbs for the turn signals, but everything else is going to be LED, including the fog lights. Now, did you guys notice this truck did not have a forward-facing camera? Yeah. Ram knows that no one else has a night edition for the dually, so yeah, they make things pretty much optional. So when you start adding a few more things, this truck is easily over $100,000. But check out the wheel design. You do have a machined finish around these holes here. It looks really nice, better than just a full blackout. And solid front axle, which is something that Ram's been doing for a long time. And this one does have that Cummins engine, so you have the badge there. These mirrors are also redone for 2023. And I think they're the best ones in the marketplace. They look good and they have a lot of good functions, which I'll show you in a second. Painted door handles, smart key on the front doors. There's no running boards on the side, so just keep that in mind when I show you guys the payload on this truck. Now you guys saw the window sticker, right? 50-gallon fuel tank. There's just no better way to go with that, right? Especially if you're going to get a dually. And this is 5.7 gallons. Now this truck did not have air suspension, so the suspension is going to look a little different. You have 2 overloads right there, and you have 5 leaves in the main pack, and you do have this additional leaf down here. And there is a wheel well liner inside of there too. And out back, you do have a parking sensor on the side. Now that parking sensor is for the dually bed. And that blackout does continue on the badges and the taillights out back, painted bumpers, 4 and 7 pin. Ram is the only truck in the HC segment that comes standard with LED license plate lights, from tradesman all the way up to limited. And class 5 hitch. 410 rear end was optioned on this truck too, so this technically has max tow. You do have backup camera and an LED light for your conventional hitch, and assisted tailgate. Oh yeah, the light just came on too, by the way. Fifth wheel prep package, spray and bed liner, and this does have a 400-watt power plug. Again, yeah, this truck is really nice. They do have the shortest bed side too, by the way. It's been a while since I looked at Ram trucks, so now that I see them, I can see just how much shorter they are compared to the competition. That's something for you to fix in the future, Ram. Now here's just a better look at the wheels in the rear. Really nice design. Now, I didn't mention it earlier, but Nexen tires, which everyone I've ever talked to who buys these trucks, if they've had more than 2 or 3 Rams, the very first thing they do is take off these Nexen tires. They say they just get rid of them because they don't last long when you're towing heavy for long periods of time. LT 235 8017, and looks like 3,085 pounds of capacity for a single tire, and then 2,835 pounds for dual, 80 psi for cold tires max. Okay, now I didn't mention this, but you see how they give you these valve stems too. I don't see the one for the inner there. Oh yeah, there it is. So they do cap it, which is kind of interesting. And yeah, that's a steel wheel out back. So they do still use a steel wheel in the rear. Let's go ahead and talk about this Cummins diesel. I know that you guys think I'm a Ram fanboy, or you think I'm a GMC fanboy, or whatever. I don't really care, but I will say my truths. These are my truths. I think that an inline six diesel is the way to go. Love the way it sounds. Love the way it feels. I feel as though the V8s are faster, but the Cummins is just a workhorse. It loves to tow, and I've towed probably over 20,000 miles with my high output. This too, being the high output, is pretty much a legendary engine, and it has one of the best transmissions behind it for towing. Let me just put that in there, not unloaded, for towing. 420 horsepower, 1,075 pound-feet of torque. The Eisen transmission doesn't have the deepest gears, but when you put it under load, it loves to tow. It loves to give you that engine braking. It loves to give you, you know, those hard shifts, which are good and confident, and that's letting you know that that torque converter is locking up for you, right? So that's why you get a Cummins. If you love to tow, if you tow a lot, this is the truck to do it with. Now, before we move into the interior, I just wanted to show this to you really quickly. Now, let's get back to these mirrors. So you do have lights on the front, right? And you do have a backup light for your trailer. Both mirrors are heated. The other two don't do that. Don't know why, but they don't. Now, all the controls are right here on the side. It is super cold, and I forgot my gloves and my hands are freezing. Now, I just showed you guys that it has the front lights. It does have the backup light. You guys can see it flashing there, hopefully. And you can power fold the mirrors too. And it does it on both sides, okay? Also, none of the other two do this. So if you would like to control that convex, Ram is the only truck you can do that with. This is so important. I know guys try to downplay stuff, but you don't have to downplay facts. If you actually tow a trailer, you know how important it is to be able to control that mirror down there. But it doesn't stop there. For these new mirrors, they also made it to where you can extend them with power. So back in the day, you had to flip them up, but now all you do is just hit a button. You can fine tune them as well, or you can just hold the button down and it'll pull them all the way into, or push them all the way out for you, okay? Now, here's everything missing on this truck that is basically $100,000. There's no fully digitized gauge cluster. You get that standard on LT up with Chevy, SLE up on GMC. XOT has a full digital gauge cluster, but Ram's Laramie, that's $100,000, does not have that. I hate that about this truck, but it is what it is. But it gets worse. It does get worse. There's no wireless charger for your phone. Now, no matter which trim level you get, you do not have heads-up display for the HD segment. Some people always chime in on the comment section and brings up half-ton trucks. I'm like, I'm not talking about half-ton trucks. We're talking about HDs. But yeah, half-tons do have heads-up, but not the HDs. But there's no denying this interior. No matter what you say about Ram trucks, you can hate their pricing, you can hate these outdated cabs, but you cannot hate this really nice storage for the center console. This thing slides forward and back. You have tons of USBs. You have a power plug here, and you have one back there. More USBs right there, which I'll show you guys the back here in a second. And this center console gives you an additional USB right there. They finished this in a soft material. I always call this Velcro, but I'm probably thinking of velvet. This is kind of like a velvet material. It's not velvet, I'm just saying it just reminds me of velvet, right? And inside here, I didn't show this to you, but you do have a divider too that pops up too. Now, this truck does not have a sunroof, and it's just, to me personally, it doesn't have the 4K camera for the rearview mirror. There's just a lot of things missing. Like I said, this one I don't think has even the lane keep assist. So for nearly $100,000, guys, there's just a lot of stuff missing. You do have a sunglass holder right there. You can slide that rear glass, and they do have LED lighting inside of here too. Push button start does come standard, and I do love the type of information they give you in this screen. So this shows you the tire pressure for all 6 tires, coolant, transmission, oil pressure, boost pressure, diesel particulate filter, oil life, fuel filter life, battery voltage, exhaust brake, and then you have a gauge summary. Ram was first to market with this, and Ford just offered this for 2023 up pickups. GM does not offer this yet, so when you're towing, that's very important. Now this 12-inch display here was the biggest screen back in 2019 and also in 2020, 2021, and then Ford came out in 2022 with a 12-inch to match them. But I do like how it's laid out. If you want your heated and ventilated seats or heated steering wheel, you can just push a button right there and it pops it up for you. You could also set up on your home page like widgets, and you can pretty much have those buttons right here for you. So you don't have them on the outside, so you can control the fan speed, you can control the temperature, you have your defrosters or your AC and recirc right there, but there's just no buttons or hard buttons, I should say, for your seats and your steering wheel. You can also turn the screen off. Something else that Ram does pretty well is, actually this truck doesn't have 360 camera. Oh yeah, that's another thing, I forgot. This truck doesn't have the 360 cameras I said on the outside, so I wanted to show you guys some of the cameras, but nevertheless, I'll show you the towing and trailer info. I do like theirs the best. They give you these gauges here, which are really nice, that you have your light check. Also, setting up a trailer is made easy as well. And then here's the passenger side. Great storage at the top here. They do illuminate this area, and you do have like a, I guess like a rubber piece right there, which would help keep things from sliding around. And this is a decent size too. And then here are the seats. 10-way for driver and passenger side. Out back, this is where you know this truck is a little bit smaller because there's just not as much space with the crew cab. Now if you get a mega cab, it's still tight, but you do have more space from what I can tell. And down here, this does have a subwoofer on that side. There is a little bit of storage. There are cup holders on the floor. And then here's just a better look at the rear. No outboard heated seats for a $97,000 truck. Let's go ahead and take a look at the Payload. So here are the numbers on the door. Gross axle weight rating up front is going to be 6,000 pounds. The rear is 9,750 pounds. 14,000 pound gross vehicle weight rating. And these are 17 by 6 inch wide wheels. And here's the Payload. 5,225 pounds, and just really quickly, 80 psi for the front tires, and then they say 65 for the rear, which is pretty interesting. I would venture to say this truck can tow just about any fifth wheel under 20,000 pounds. I would venture to say, depends on how you load up your truck, but there are a lot of like toy haulers out there that have like 4,000 pounds of hitch weight. Now if you're putting a big toy in the rear, that should take about 400 pounds off the hitch. But I've seen guys online, you know, post their numbers for their fifth wheel toy hauler and dually setup, and they're over the gross vehicle weight rating, and it's very, very shocking. So just keep that in mind. Like, you might need to go to a 45 or 5,500 when you start really getting to that 20,000 pound mark, especially if you're living full time in a toy hauler. You just normally carry a lot more stuff, and you can easily exceed the axles in your GVWR with these trucks. So I would just recommend going to that 45 or 5,500 if you plan on getting a toy hauler that's full-time living and you're not really putting a toy in the back, because typically a big side-by-side will take about 400 pounds off the hitch. But hope you guys liked the video. Looking forward to seeing some 2025 Ram HDs in the future, assuming they're going to be redesigned. And I think that Ram has a lot of work to do on this truck, guys, and that's it. See you guys soon.